Starting a new chapter in my life, I eagerly enrolled at a prominent college in sunny California. Everything seemed promising, including my campus accommodation. Sharing a room wasn't a concern, as I was accustomed to having roommates. However, the events that followed were beyond anything I had ever imagined. As I stepped into my dorm room for the first time, I was introduced to my roommate, Jack. He appeared to be a regular guy with an easygoing demeanor and a welcoming smile. Initially, things seemed normal, and we engaged in light conversations, sharing anecdotes about our hometowns and aspirations. But soon, Jack's behavior took a perplexing turn. I noticed he would frequently rummage through my belongings when he assumed I was not watching. At first, I brushed it off as harmless curiosity, but his persistence became unsettling. His comings and goings also became increasingly irregular. He would often return to our dorm long after midnight, his footsteps muffled by the stillness of the night. This situation escalated when one evening, while pretending to be asleep, I witnessed Jack intently searching through my bags, his hands fumbling through my personal items. A surge of panic and disbelief washed over me, leaving me paralyzed with a mixture of fear and anger. As he noticed my stir, he quickly retreated, feigning innocence with an awkward excuse. Unable to shake the unnerving feeling that had settled within me, I confided in a close friend about Jack's suspicious behavior. Together, we decided to confront him. Jack, taken aback by the accusation, denied any wrongdoing and insisted it was all a misunderstanding. However, his eyes betrayed an uneasiness that confirmed my suspicions. Despite my attempts to maintain a cordial relationship, my discomfort only grew, intensified by the late-night activities that persisted. There were times when I would wake up in the early hours to the sound of Jack whispering on the phone, his voice carrying an edge of secrecy and urgency. His nocturnal escapades became a source of deep concern, leaving me restless and vigilant, my mind racing with apprehension. Unable to endure the emotional strain any longer, I sought advice from a counselor at the college. They encouraged me to trust my instincts and emphasized the importance of my safety. With their guidance, I made the difficult decision to contact the authorities. The police, upon investigating, discovered a dark truth that surpassed my worst fears. Inside Jack's laptop, they unearthed a trove of disturbing images, including voyeuristic photographs of me captured within the privacy of our dorm room. The revelation left me reeling, struggling to come to terms with the violation of my privacy and the sinister reality of my once seemingly ordinary roommate. Jack was promptly taken into custody, and the campus community was notified of the incident, causing a ripple of shock and unease among my fellow students. In the aftermath, I found solace in the support of friends, family, and the college administration, who took swift action to ensure my safety and well-being. The experience left an indelible mark, reminding me of the importance of vigilance and the significance of speaking up when faced with adversity. It also highlighted the critical role of trust and integrity in fostering a healthy living environment, reiterating the need for compassion and empathy in the fabric of communal living. As the semester progressed, I was relieved to find a new roommate who restored a sense of normalcy, allowing me to focus on my studies and embrace the opportunities that college life had to offer. However, the memories of that harrowing chapter remained etched in my mind, serving as a poignant reminder of the fragility of security and the resilience of the human spirit. Entering my second month of college, a thrilling mix of anticipation and nervous excitement filled my veins. The sprawling campus seemed like a maze of opportunities, each corner hiding the potential for lifelong friendships, mind-bending discoveries, and unforgettable experiences. Amidst the fluttering excitement, a peculiar rumor fluttered through the halls and classrooms, a whisper that would soon drag me into the shadowy depths of an unimaginable horror. It was my dear friend, Ryan, who first mentioned the whispered rumor. He had this knack for finding the most peculiar stories on campus. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, he sidled up to me in the crowded cafeteria, his voice barely above a whisper. "Have you heard about Professor Dorian? They say he's the head of a sinister cult. Apparently, they perform strange rituals in the dead of night." He chuckled, clearly taking it all as a morbid joke. I laughed it off initially, dismissing it as one of Ryan's exaggerated tales to spice up our mundane college routine. But as days passed, the murmurings about Professor Dorian and his clandestine activities didn't seem to fade. It began to seep into my consciousness, tainting the atmosphere around the campus like an insidious fog. The day arrived when my curiosity got the better of me. Ryan, always up for an adventure, convinced me to explore the veracity of the rumors. "Let's check it out. It's probably just a bunch of nonsense," he urged, his eyes glinting with the excitement of the unknown. With trepidation dancing in my gut, I found myself following Ryan towards the secluded corner of the campus where the mysterious cult supposedly gathered. As we approached the designated location, an eerie silence enveloped us. It was strange, as if the very air around us had stilled, hushing any sound that dared to echo. Instead of the bustling crowds I was used to, there were only 6 of us, including Ryan and myself, standing in a circle, our gazes fixated on the enigmatic figure of Professor Dorian. His eyes seemed to hold secrets within their depths, and his smile, though warm, carried a hint of something sinister. I stole glances at the other participants. Their expressions were a mix of fascination and trepidation, their eyes reflecting a strange devotion to the words of the professor. With a voice that seemed to resonate from the shadows themselves, Professor Dorian began to weave a disturbing narrative, an ideology that painted the world in shades of darkness, with evil lurking in every corner, waiting to claim unsuspecting souls. The tales spun by the professor transcended the boundaries of normalcy, delving into the realms of the occult and the macabre. His words seemed to cast a spell, wrapping us in an invisible web of fascination, fear, and an inexplicable desire to unravel the mysteries he spoke of. But as the night grew deeper, the unsettling realization dawned upon me that this was no mere intellectual exercise. The air crackled with an unseen energy, and the rituals that began to unfold felt like echoes from a sinister past, a past that should have remained buried. Chants echoed eerily in the night, and the flickering candlelight cast grotesque shadows on the walls, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that sent shivers down my spine. With every passing moment, the boundary between reality and the surreal seemed to blur. The participants, including my friend Ryan, appeared to be enthralled, their faces contorted in a strange mix of ecstasy and dread. It was as if they were being pulled into a world beyond comprehension, a world where the profane and the sacred danced hand in hand, and the darkness within human hearts found its twisted reflection in the professor's doctrines. As the night wore on, the horrors seemed to intensify. Visions of unspeakable things flitted at the edge of my consciousness, threatening to consume my sanity. In a moment of desperation, I managed to slip away, my heart pounding against my ribs like a wild beast seeking escape. The cold night air hit me like a slap, snapping me back to the stark reality of the campus, where the vibrant lights and bustling energy seemed a stark contrast to the unearthly events I had just witnessed. Shaken to my core, I resolved to report this to the college administration, to bring an end to the malevolent grip Professor Dorian seemed to have on the unsuspecting students. But my efforts were met with incredulity and dismissal. "Professor Dorian doesn't have any club or cult," they asserted, their voices laced with irritation at my persistence. Feeling utterly alone in my fight against the shadowy forces that seemed to lurk beneath the facade of academia, I grappled with the chilling realization that perhaps this horror was more than just an isolated incident. It seemed to be a sinister undercurrent, a dark secret that threatened to swallow the very essence of the institution I had hoped to call my second home. As the days passed, the MEM College can be a time of immense excitement and growth, but for some, it can also harbor unexpected dangers and challenges. In the case of Emily, a 21-year-old college student with a promising future ahead, her college experience took an unexpected turn one fateful night. It was a chilly October evening, with the vibrant campus alive with the buzz of students enjoying the weekend. Emily had just wrapped up a fun night out with friends, trying to unwind after a particularly challenging week of exams and social dynamics. However, her attempt at relaxation was short-lived, as she found herself grappling with a persistent conflict with one of her fellow students, Sarah. Sarah was known for her short temper and erratic behavior, often engaging in heated disputes and confrontations with her peers. Emily had inadvertently become a target of Sarah's resentment, the details of which seemed to escape Emily's understanding. Despite her efforts to avoid any direct conflict, the tension between the two had escalated to an alarming level. Upon returning to her college dorm that night, Emily decided to make a quick stop at the restroom to freshen up before heading to her room. As she stood in front of the sink, the sound of running water providing a moment of solace, her peace was shattered by the sudden creaking of the restroom door. Emily's heart skipped a beat as she turned to see Sarah standing there, a glint of hostility in her eyes, clutching a gleaming knife in her trembling hand. The gravity of the situation was not lost on Emily, who felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with a paralyzing fear. Sarah's presence, coupled with the menacing blade in her hand, created an atmosphere of palpable danger. Emily's mind raced as she tried to comprehend the reality of the threat before her. The fluorescent lights of the restroom seemed to flicker ominously, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "Emily," Sarah hissed, her voice laced with an unsettling mixture of anger and desperation. "I've had enough of your games. You think you can just waltz around here, acting like you're better than everyone else? Well, I'm putting an end to it right now." Emily's thoughts swirled as she struggled to find the right words to defuse the situation. But before she could respond, Sarah lunged forward, the knife slicing through the air with a terrifying swiftness. Instinctively, Emily raised her arm to shield herself, feeling a searing pain as the blade grazed her skin, leaving a thin trail of blood in its wake. The searing pain jolted Emily into action, her survival instincts kicking in with an urgency that eclipsed her fear. She managed to push past the shock and swiftly sidestepped Sarah's second attempt, the blade narrowly missing her again. With her heart pounding in her chest, Emily managed to create enough distance between herself and Sarah to make a break for the restroom door. Adrenaline fueled her movements as she fumbled with the latch, her fingers trembling in a desperate attempt to escape the confined space that had turned into a chamber of terror. As she burst out of the restroom, Emily could feel the cold night air hitting her face like a welcome reprieve. With a mind racing and hand shaking, she fumbled for her phone and dialed the emergency line, struggling to convey the urgency of her situation as she described the events that had just transpired. The dispatcher's voice provided a much-needed anchor of reassurance, promising that help was on the way. Minutes felt like an eternity as Emily huddled against the wall, her eyes fixated on the restroom door, half expecting Sarah to burst out at any moment. The distant wail of approaching sirens served as a reassuring melody, signifying that the nightmare might soon be over. Police officers arrived swiftly, their authoritative presence diffusing the tension that had enveloped the campus. Sarah was eventually apprehended, her volatile actions leading to her inevitable arrest. In the aftermath, Emily found herself grappling with a mixture of emotions, ranging from relief to disbelief at the gravity of the situation. The incident served as a stark reminder of the unpredictability that lurked beneath the veneer of college life, a reminder that danger could often be closer than one dared to imagine. Despite the trauma of that harrowing night, Emily eventually found solace in the unwavering support of her friends and the counseling services offered by the college. The incident left an indelible mark on her college experience, shaping her perspective on the complexities of human nature and the importance of vigilance in the face of unforeseen threats. It served as a cautionary tale for the entire campus, prompting a reevaluation of safety protocols and a renewed commitment to fostering a culture of empathy and conflict resolution.